Welcome, my friends. Today we are discussing and reviewing the Autmog 36. Autmog was started by Brian Howie in Vancouver, Canada. Near as I could tell from my research, sometime around 20 to 21 via a Kickstarter. Since then, he's been doing very well with his products. His products are extremely varied, given different tip dimensions and tip geometries. And also you can get them in clipless versions or clipped versions. You can get them with differing metals and bodies between the mech here and the body. And they do actually offer in-house anodization. This one I anodized myself here for our channel supporter Hellcat, and I tried to emulate that nice baby blue that they go for at the factory. So it's a little subdued right here because it's a cloudy day. There's not much light in here, but you can check out my Instagram and some other photos. I think I put one on Reddit, and you can see. So one of the things that really confused me when I was looking at Autmog was the different numbers after it. Like most makers have a model. Billet spin, they've got the sole, they've got the cam pen, right? You've got a model name. They don't do that at Autmog. They actually go by kind of numbers and details of the pen itself. So the number, like this is a 36, for instance, that is representative of the diameter here. So 36 means it is 0.36 inches in diameter here of the body. They can get 40s and other sizes too, so that's really cool. Like we said, the noses are differentiated between different models as well. You could have a round nose, a conical nose, which this one is here. You could have kind of a step nose or a needle nose, so they make them with different noses too. Autmog is working with copper, titanium, aluminum, and brass. Mostly. You can get different variations of those. This one here is a brass mech. So the aesthetic is at first pretty minimalistic. You know, you've got those kind of the grooves there and there, but that's something you see kind of all over the place, so it's not very notable itself. These rings up here do give you just enough tactile grip, so it really works well. And I will say, if you're a fidgeter, when I fidget, I want a smooth middle, so that way it's easy to kind of slide it up and about, but then you want points of, you know, friction at the end so you don't like spin the thing away from you and out of your hands. So it is kind of more minimalistic in its aesthetic, but it does lean well towards fidgeting. All right, let's take a look at the mech. So the mech is really cool. I love it. It's so crisp. The only other thing that rivals this for crispness in a mech is the Q3D Swift Click. And this one is a little bit harder to activate, like spring pressure here. But you know what that means is when you overcome that pressure, it's even more authoritative with that click. So I assumed all of these were ceramic balls, but you can actually get these, the actual ball detent here, you can get that in different materials as well, which is really cool. When you look from the side here, even when it's activated, it's almost flush. This ball sits out just enough where you can feel it and you can press it, but you know, it's very minimalistic from that exterior when engaged, so that's pretty nifty. Let's see if it acts as a roll stop. It does actually act as a roll stop as well when engaged, so that's kind of a nice thing if you have a clipless model. Personally, I'm a clipped guy, but like I said, you can get clipped versions. All right, let's go under the hood. So to go under the hood here, you are going to take off the mechanism, lefty-loosey, and that's the mechanism right there. And I'll take a look at that in a minute. All right, so this is how you change your refill on these ones. And there'll be a spring under there. The one thing that is absolutely high class here is this is one milled piece. Okay, that is almost unheard of out of this world. And let's look at another pen to kind of demonstrate the reasons why. All right, so here we have, you know, an old USG Go pen with some zirconium Damascus accents, and I picked this one because this highlights what I'm talking about. Most every other pen out there will have two separate pieces. You're going to have your body here and your nose piece here, your kind of cone nose piece. So that is for a couple different reasons. Mostly, though, it's for ease of, you know, production, because this piece here, the body, I'm not going to take this part out, but this piece here, the body, is essentially just one hollow milled tube. That's easier to make than this right here, which has this part attached as one piece. That's a little bit of milling expertise there. All right, let's go back to this. Another reason that most people will do it this way is because Not only is it easier to mill just two separate components, but it also cuts down on potential waste, right? If you mess up on the body, you throw it away. If you mess up on this part, you throw it away, you get a different one, but you save the other component. So the fact that the Autmog is all one piece is also demonstrative of, how nice and how precisionally milled these things can be. If they mess this part up, this entire piece of titanium is waste, right? A little bit of a riskier venture for the maker, but the end product just shows off your capabilities that much better. Another thing that does is it makes it so there's no seam. Most every other maker, unless they're really, really, really good at hiding it, you'll see a seam between the two pieces. Because this is one piece, it has no seam. And if you got a model that didn't have these, millings here, you would see a seamless transition. With this design, he uses Higbee blunt start threads, kind of like SPP did at the end of their days. And what that is a method of milling the threads so they are less likely to strip or cross thread, as it were. And that's really important here because this has no nose cone, right? So in other pens, all the wear and tear goes up on that nose cone, right? So the mech doesn't really have to come out when you change your refill. This one, on the other hand, you do need to take the mech off to get to the refill. So it's really nice that they included those blunt start Higbee threads to make sure that this has a good solid lifetime and it is very reliable. Let's look at the mech, shall we? So the mech here is super tiny. That's one of the biggest advantages. A lot of side click pens have their click way down low comparison to this. So this is like, it's amazingly tiny. Now what you'll see here is that spring pressure obviously is what puts it back up when you press there. But now that this is engaged, you can see that this little C-clip here, so you pop that off and then you can pull out the entire mechanism if you do need to get to it for any reason whatsoever. That would be the disassembly. I'm not going to do this. This is a donor pen. But if you wanted to, you could do that and even anodize the button. So that's how you would theoretically take apart the mechanism here. Incredibly smooth, incredibly small, and I do love those blunt start threads. All right, let's put it back together. So we've got our one-piece body here. We're going to go ahead and put our spring back there. Drop that in. Then we're good. Now, even though this does have those blunt start threads, I still reverse thread it until you feel it slide in. And then you can tighten it on down. And there you go. Alrighty, let's get you some size comparisons. So there we've got the Autmog 36. Let's go ahead and put it up against a Q3D Swift Click. And we see the Swift Click comes in a hair longer and also a hair thicker in diameter. But side note, that's why I love this milling, because this makes it feel actually thinner when you index. Anyway, moving on, let's take a look at a Smooth Precision pens. Here's a Jigsaw for comparison. You should note too, when this is engaged, you're going to save a little space. So for example, when engaged, let's go ahead and engage that one too. The thickness is a hair thinner on the diameter here. Let's go ahead and put it up against a tactile turn. This one is actually going to Hellcat, who donated this one, the Autmog, for review. So both of these are going back to Hellcat, and I am going to miss this one. It is a beautiful pattern, but it's a great exemplar of a tactile turn. Slim diameter, full size length. But let's take a look at those two. So the Autmog comes in a little bit shorter again. And if you look, actually, the throw of the buttons, let's take a look at all the throws here. I should grab the NTI as well. Look at all the throws there. So you can see that actually Q3D has the shortest throw, but Autmog's a little bit longer, but the mechanism itself is shorter. If you see all the buttons here, right, you've got the buttons down low on most of them. This button is way up high there. So it's a different design ethos. I might even say the Autmog might even be a hair thicker than the tactile turn slim. All right, here it is against a sole, because everybody loves a sole. Now, do keep in mind, these are different refills too, so this one's going to be a little bit shorter because of that. You can definitely see the throw is still longest on the sole, as well as the sole is definitely thicker through the diameter and a little bit longer too. And why not? Let's throw in the Umberry Expressor there, which is just its own unique beast, but you can see comparatively there. Conclusions. So, I was really impressed with the Autmog. This Autmog 36 here. I'm kind of at a unique point in my journey where I'm not really looking at entry to mid-level pens anymore. I've already kind of got my expensive pen collection almost maxed out. So I was super happy and fortunate to have Hellcat send me one of these because this brand is making a huge splash in the machine pen market. They are selling out in some instances less than a minute, right? Between when they hit the online store and when they sell out, less than a minute sometimes, guys. These things are hard to get. That means you might be able to get them on the secondary market. One of the things that is, to me personally, a little bit of a negative in the design ethos here is it's very minimalistic on the milling. So it's not something that really screams to me. It's not something that, you know, shows off crazy patterns or crazy things like that. Then again, we've got this insane milling up here where this entire cone and body are one piece. And that, when you realize that, most people would never even consider to think about that. But when you realize that, that's a really nifty exemplar of what can be done and the machining prowess that is possessed by Brian over at Autmog. I really love the mechanism. The mechanism here is absolutely top notch. All right, this thing, it's got a nice throw. It's very crisp, and I love this ball detent here. I love how it's almost flush, yet it still acts as a roll stop if it's extended here. And it's just, I really love this whole design ethos. So personally, I'm a clips guy, so it is really nice that you can actually get these in models that do have a clip with them as well. And by the way, guys, that is a G2 refill in this model at least. And one other thing to note, there's absolutely no rattle. There's no rattle anywhere. So I love how everything is very tight and there's no rattles whatsoever. This is a great pen, guys. It's not really designed for me as a collector, but this is designed for someone who is getting into machine pens and it might be their first or second or only machine pen, and they just want a really nice, solid beater that they can take everywhere and it can take any abuse and keep on a rockin', right? They're not looking for the craziest exotic materials. They're not looking for the craziest exotic millings or colors. Most of these that you'll find will be that very Spartan base metal material, but you can get them anodized like we had said. So overall, this pen was really fun to play with, and thank you again, Hellcat, for sending it my way to check out and observe. The mechanism here is the star, guys. The body, like we said, kind of Spartan. It's really cool when you realize this is one piece that's, you know, very kind of fancy as far as milling goes in that regard. But the mechanism here is just so crisp, and it's a joy to play with. And that is the real star of this pen. So this is a great entry into our machine pen world. If you're looking to get into machined pens, or even if you've got a couple and you want a really solid mech, this is an easy recommend. So Brian, if you're out there, thank you very much for making our Autmogs here. Our only real downfall, I guess, would be that we are selling out too quick and you have a hard time finding these actually on the store when they do drop. So, but that's never a problem for the maker, right? So congratulations, Autmog. I'm glad to see that you've entered the market with such a positive splash, and it's well deserved. This mechanism is a beautiful thing. The fact that this is milled in one piece is an awesome show of prowess. So thank you again for watching, guys, and I do hope to have some more fun machine content for you soon. And as always, may your journey lead to your own personal serenity. Take care, guys.